You should now know how to play a bunch of suspended and add chords. I'm talking about D suspended second, D suspended fourth, A suspended second, A suspended fourth, maybe C add 2, C add 4. Maybe you got up to the G's and E's and their embellishments, okay? Now, you also were practicing, and I gave you a strum along and practice on playing like a measure of each one. Like you went from a D to a D sus4, to a D, to a D sus2, to a D, right? And you should be good at that just by doing these little embellishments, adding or taking away a finger, right? And doing that on the D, D minor, doing it on A minor, doing it with the C, doing it with, and you're moving in the add 2 and add 4, and also adding that C major 7. It's a beautiful chord, right? And you should be getting good at that, and nice loose strum going on with that, right? Okay. So to take that to a level to where you can start doing that in your songs, you have to have what's called good right and left hand separation, or what I call right and left hand separation, meaning that your right hand has to stay on a strum, the same strum the whole way through, and your left hand, or your fret hand, if you're lefty it would be your other hand, be your right hand, your fret hand manipulates the chord with the suspensions or the adds. So the strum doesn't change while the left hand manipulates, the fret hand manipulates. This is critical to add into your songs, because if you're staying on a whole suspended chord, you're not going to have, in a lot of songs, you're on a chord, like when you're doing your songs, one measure or two measures, you're not going to be able to spend a whole measure on a suspended chord or two measures. You got to be on it and off it like with two strums. Okay? So that's what I call peppering it in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you were doing this before. I'll do D per measure, D sus4, D, D sus2, D. Okay? Now, that's not going to work with a lot of songs unless you're on a D chord for, what was that, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures, 4 measures. See, a lot of times you're only going to have 1 or 2 measures on a chord, then you got to go to the next chord. Well, how do I add the suspension in there if it's only a measure or 2? Easy! We're going to show you how to do it easy here at the next level guitar. Here's what you got to do. You have to practice what I call peppering it in, meaning you're only going to be popping it in there for like 1 or 2 strums. And I'm going to show you how to do it slowly. And you're not going to be able to do this right away, because it's going to throw your strum off. It's going to take you a little bit to get the hang of it, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go between the D sus2 and the D sus4. But I'm only going to be on each suspended chord like for 2 hits. And you'll get something like this. Listen. Are you listening? Alright. See, right off the bat. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. That upstroke, I went to the sus2. I lifted my second finger from the D to the D sus2. So you could try that. It's like, I'm on it for 4. That's all. Down, down, up, up. Right? And all these strums, let's just do the strum 2. Up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. I'm going to play for a minute, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Then I'm going to come back and explain it. But when I play, I'm going to stop myself in the middle by grabbing the strings. And I want you to hear that the strum will not stop. That's the whole trick to this. The strum has to keep going in the pattern. Otherwise, you're going to fall off time. It sounds complicated, but it just takes a little bit of practice, right? So listen to what I'm going to do here. See, I'm going between this sus2, D, sus4, and I'm changing the amount of time on each one. But look, see my strum, down, up, down, up. See, I'm getting all these beautiful chord movements. I can do them quicker. Not just the D sus2, D sus4. Stop. See, my strum does not stop. Now I have good right and left hand separation. I'll do it on the A. Peppering them in there. I'm peppering them in. But see, strum does not stop. Back to the D. So you see, what I'm doing there is I'm just doing my strum, and it's all this. Manipulating with your fret hand, going to the sus2, the sus4, or the add2, the add4. And I'm going to bring the guitar in close to the camera so you can actually see the left hand. But what I call that is you have to get your strum on autopilot. So no matter what your other hand is doing, this does not stop. Okay? So it's a little tricky at first. It's kind of like if you ever driven a car with a 4-speed or a clutch. You got to kind of, with your left foot, let the clutch out as you're easing the gas into gear. And when I first learned that, I was like, the car was like going and bucking, and because it takes a little bit to get that hang of your hands and feet working together, that coordination. Same thing here on this guitar. It's going to take a little bit for you to get the coordination between this hand and this hand, okay? Or like riding a motorcycle. The first time I rode a motorcycle, I was like, oh my God, this is hard, because on a motorcycle, you're using your 2 hands and your 2 feet. I'm using my right foot as the back brake. The front brake is up here on the left hand. The throttle is here on the right hand, and the clutch on your left foot. You're shifting gears, so you got to use both hands and both feet. And this is easier than that, but I'm just using that as an example. Okay, the thing is, you got to get the strum on autopilot, and this is going to take you a little bit. It's going to throw you off, but it just takes a little bit of practice, and you'll get it. And you could be doing stuff like this. See, I just went through all the C embellishments, the major 7, the sus2, the sus4 within 2 measures. Because remember, a lot of times in songs you have one measure on a given chord, then you got to go to another chord for a measure, then another chord for a measure. So you got to get the suspension in there. You have one measure, do it, and then get out in time to get to the next chord, or maybe 2 measures. So whatever you do in those 2 measures is totally up to you, the artist, unless you're trying to copy something exactly off the CD. You have 2 measures. You can add suspended chords, change the strum. We're going to get into all kinds of embellishments, add walking bass lines, whatever you want. But you can't let that contaminate going to the next chord or throwing you off, okay? You got to remember, you're on a certain chord, a certain amount of measures, then to the next chord, and you got to keep your time. Playing in time is the whole thing, right? I don't have to show you my right hand because the strum is the same. Down, down, up, up, down, up. No matter what, that strum will not stop. Okay? You got to keep that going. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's, as you know, your D major. D sus4, all you do is you add your pinky. D major, D sus2, D major. So I don't want you doing this. I know by now you should be able to do this fine. 1 measure each. Sus4, D, sus2, okay, I know you can do that by now. You've been practicing that. That's 1 measure each. Okay, now we have to do just 1 or 2 strums on each chord. Now watch, I'm going to play doing that, keeping the strum the same, but I just want you to watch how I move my fret hand, okay? And I'll try to make the movements very clear, starting on the D. Okay, that whole time, down, down, up, down, it did not stop, okay? So, for you to first start this, just take it real slow, okay? And just go like a down, down, up, and we're going to go on the D, and you're going to do this. Down, down, up, up. The 2 ups, you're going to go to the sus4. Okay? Down, down, up on the sus4. Next down, sus2, so you get this. Down, down, up, down, up, 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 down, down, up, down, up. See, that's the whole trick, keeping that strum going. So it's going to take you a little bit. I want you to practice that. And just doing this, you're just adding the pinky and taking the pinky away. Again, that's going to strengthen it. Or adding that, sus2, taking away the second finger. If I was to do it on the A chord, I'd be adding the pinky or taking away the third finger for the sus2. Okay, let's do it on the C's because I want to show you. I'll also throw in that C major 7th and you'll see that. Let me give you a good angle on this. Oh, there you go. Now remember our C's. Here's our C right there with our pinky. That's our add 2. And then when we put the up here on the 3rd fret of the D string, that's our add 4. And then on the C, we remove our first finger. That's our C major 7th, right? See if I can give you a little better shot. There you go. So, let's try that. Now, I don't want you doing a whole measure on each because I know you can do it. So let's try peppering it in. It'll sound like this. Again, the down, down, up, down, up does not stop. Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, and that's what I want you to practice, just trying to pepper those in. And it doesn't even matter. You're probably saying, well, what order should I do them in? Do them in any order you want. Put in this, but always go back to the major chord or the minor chord if you're doing it on the minor. Like C, C major 7th, C, C add 2, C. So you're always going back to the C, or if you're doing it on A minor, then A sus2, then A minor, then A sus4, then A minor. Always sandwich the major or the minor in between, but it doesn't matter if you go to the sus2 first, or the sus4 first, or the major 7 first, or the add 2 first. You could do them in any order you want. It doesn't matter, because if you could do them in 1 or 2 orders, you could do them in all the orders. It's a matter of getting the technique down of not letting it mess up your strum. That's what you're going to have to work through. And then we want you to have good right and left hand separation. You got to get the strum on autopilot, okay? That's critical. Just to give you an example of how we're going to apply this. Starting on the D. C. Major 7. Add 2. G. sus4 with the first finger. Now the D. Get fancy. Again. A. sus2. sus4. C. Add 2. Major 7. C. sus4. D. Okay? So you can see how that really spices up a song and really makes a song come alive. And it gives it character, and it gives it harmonic richness, and then just staying on the chords. I'm just sitting on a D chord. Rarely will I do that, even when I play live. I'm always doing this. See, I'm spicing it up. But, notice, that does not down, down, up, down, up. That does not stop the strum. So, the goal here is I want you to practice manipulating the chord, and don't think you're going to get this down in like 2 minutes. You're going to have to work on it 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes a day for a couple days till you get the hang of it. And what will happen is this. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. The first couple times you try it, it's going to mess your strum up. You're going to be like, oh, darn, I had it for 1 measure. Oh, there, I got it for 2, and then it's kind of like learning a strum pattern all over again. You'll have it for 3 maybe times around, then you'll fall off. But eventually you'll get it to where that right hand, you can throw in whatever you want with your fret hand. It doesn't matter because that right hand just stays, right? I'm throwing them all into the kitchen. I'm throwing everything into the kitchen sink, right? But the right hand does not stop this. No matter what, you should be able to stop yourself and get that, okay? Because this is critical, because soon we're going to be adding these suspensions and adds to all our songs, and it's really going to spice things up. You're going to be doing it all the time, and soon that whole process will be on autopilot, where you won't be thinking about doing it. You'll just be peppering them in. I call it peppering them in. I think that's kind of cool, peppering them in. Yeah. And soon that whole peppering in process will be automatic. Like, I don't even think about doing it, I just do it. Because It's so much more interesting for me as a player, but more importantly, it's more interesting for the person listening to it, right? So it gives you more fun and more enjoyment, and it's more intricate, but more importantly, the person listening or the audience, right? That's important, right? A little bit more something they could sink their teeth into than just sitting on one chord all day. Rock on.